I'm here at the GI Film Festival with Christian D'Andrea, the director and producer of Resurrecting Warbirds. Christian, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So first, can you just tell us a little bit about your film?
Yes, the film is called Resurrecting Warbirds. It's about this spirited band of gentlemen out in California who have an unusual pastime. What they do is they travel the world searching for downed World War II aircraft, planes that have been shot down, usually in dogfights, buried at the bottoms of lakes, buried in the ocean, hidden in sand dunes in the desert. They'll go, they'll find them, they'll salvage them carefully, lift them up out of lakes, lift them up off the bottom of the ocean, then they'll fly them back to their private hangars in Northern California. They own private hangars, by the way, full of warbirds in various stages of restoration. Then they will rebuild these planes, bolt for bolt, using all original pieces. So they'll find bolts on eBay from the 40s that are the exact part to help refurbish an engine or an engine mount. It's extraordinary. And they'll use the tools that are authentic from World War II as well in their private hangars, all self-funded. And once they've rebuilt these planes, they fly them in air shows, they race them in the Reno air races on occasion against modern planes sometimes. Screaming at 50 feet off the deck. It's incredible, it's dangerous, it's madness. And then they also do occasionally something that's really quite extraordinary, which is the human interest piece here. Not just the paying tribute to the World War II veterans, which they do every single day by restoring these amazing warbirds, and also paying tribute to the engineering prowess. It's extraordinary how beautiful these planes are and how well they fly. But one other thing that they do is sometimes, on occasion, the aviator who crashed in the plane did not die, did not perish in the crash. And they know, they research everything about these incidents. And if that aviator is alive, what they sometimes do is they'll call the aviator, who's in his 90s, let's say, and they'll say, hey, do you want to come out to California? We have something we want to show you. And the aviator, the guy says, well, I'm 95, I don't really want to travel. And they say, trust us, come out. He says, why? Trust us, come out. And the aviator, the veteran, will come to Northern California, they'll stand him in front of their hangar, they'll open the hangar doors, and they'll reveal to him the plane he crashed in 70 years ago, gleaming, looking brand new. The guy's floored, he recognizes his plane, and they'll say, do you want to go for a flight in your plane? And it gives me chills just to think about it. But one of the amazing things that one of the veterans said was, you know, what you've done for me, you've provided the final chapter in my life. This is the one this is the one last thing I had to do. I didn't know what it was, but going back up in the plane that I was shot down in 70 years ago, that I crashed in 70 years ago, has given me a sense of fulfillment that I didn't really realize I needed. Isn't that extraordinary?
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so how did you come into contact with these guys and the material? Because I mean, one, it sounds like an awesome reality TV series, but it's like better than the scripted ones, you know what I mean?
It might become a series, actually. So I practice the lost art of shunpiking. Do you know what shunpiking is?
I do not know what shunpiking is.
Okay, shunpiking is the lost art of knowing when to shun the turnpike, get off the main roads, get onto the side roads, and find the great stories, the hidden characters. So that's what I do. I shunpike.
Nice.
Tell your friends. So shunpiking.
Nice.
So at any rate, that's what I do, and I find stories, and I produced some documentary TV series. I've got a couple in development with the networks. And I find unusual slices of America, but what I try to specialize in is people who might be ignored or might have tucked themselves away, and yet they're doing things the right way. They're inspiring, they're mavericks, they're independent, and they kind of remind us of our best selves. And that's what I like to see. And these guys who do the Resurrecting of Warbirds, which is the film's title, they are self-funded, they're self-starters, they're independent guys, they go do it. They get permission from the federal government, but they aren't waiting on anyone's okay or sign-off. They have the rights to these planes, but they just go make it happen because they want to pay tribute to World War II veterans. That's their passion, and that's what they want to do. And that struck a chord with me. I said, you guys are doing this, and you're not doing it for TV attention. You're not doing it for the media. You're doing it because you love it, and you want to pay tribute to the aviators from World War II and to the beauty of these planes and the craftsmanship. And you see what they're up to, and you walk into these hangars, and they're gleaming, magnificent warbirds with teams of mechanics working, and it's all for the love of it. These guys spend, I won't disclose the amount of money, they spend a lot of money on this.
I can imagine.
Their own money.
Wow.
And they don't sell the planes for profit. They're not in it for commercial reasons. They're in it purely for the love of it and to pay tribute to veterans, and that blew my mind.
So, sometimes you're not supposed to ask someone's age, but like, what age level are these guys? And the reason that I'm asking that is because, for me, as I was just talking to someone that's a Vietnam vet, I wasn't even alive at the time, right?
Right.
But sometimes I feel like for the younger generation, we have a disconnect with the respect and gratitude for those that have come before us. So I'm kind of wondering the median age range for these guys, but then also the feedback so far for the film, and I guess in helping to connect, the respect and the gratitude for the past.
Well, it's a great question, and two answers. First, the film is premiering tomorrow, so it hasn't been shown before, which is exciting.
Okay.
So it's premiering here.
Awesome.
And the other part of it is that when people do see it, I have shown it to select groups, when they do see it, yes, you're right. A different generation can spark to it, and one of the reasons they can spark to it is because they can see the beauty of the airplane, and it's stunning to see a World War II era airplane gleaming in the sun, flying low over Sonoma Valley, California, right?
Right.
And it's a stunning visual, and then once you see that stunning visual, that's one of the great things about film is you can hook people with an amazing concept, and then once they're hooked, you can dive deep into the texture and the richness.
Right.
The planes are so beautiful, and they sound so incredible that people of all generations get hooked and they want to learn more, and that's when you can then supply them with the story, the backstory. Did you know that this plane was rebuilt and it crashed 70 years ago, and here's the story of that aviator, and that's when you can pay tribute. Whereas if you were to just start with the tribute, you might not get the same scope of audience because you haven't hooked them with that, and that's just a facet of human nature, right? We all want something that catches our attention. So this story has the great advantage of beautiful, gleaming, magnificent World War II warbirds, right?
Right.
And so that's its asset, and it does connect people of all generations. I mean, you know how I know it connects to people of all generations?
How?
Because when I was telling you this story, I watched your face. So I know it connected with you.
It did.
And you are a fine representation of your generation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Which generation?
This is millennial.
You are one, really?
Exactly.
You're a bona fide millennial?
I am.
I'm touching a millennial? That's exciting.
I know, I just made the cutoff by 3 years.
But it's an interesting question, actually. I mean, you're a millennial. You've heard the story, what these guys do. I saw the reaction you had. Tell me about that. Tell me about your response to it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Flip the table, flip the script. I mean, when you said it, I think what really impacted me the most was when you talked about the hangar opening up for the veteran to see the Warbird. And, there's the documentary that came out about sound and how music would help older generation, instantly connect and they remember different things. And what you just said with the veteran that said, wow, this was a final chapter that I didn't know needed to be written.
Well said, yeah.
That to me is incredible. So that's kind of, like I said, my pull in, wow, just to see that transformation and the impact on the veteran.
You make a great point, which is that veteran saying, this is the final chapter of my life, this is what I didn't realize I needed, that's human. That isn't just for veterans or just for this group or that group. It's human nature, and that's why it's surprising to all of us, because it's, I think, refreshing and important to remember that they are still among us, these guys who lived in this extraordinary, epochal moment in American world history.
Yeah.
World War II, they're still here. At this film festival, on the opening evening, this is an incredible film festival, on the first night of the film festival on Capitol Hill, there was a screening of this great movie about the Doolittle raid, which is an extraordinary story in and of itself. And at the screening was Doolittle's co-pilot. He was 99 years old.
Wow.
He was really there. You walk up, you touch him, you're looking at his eyes, and you realize, imagine what those eyes have seen, right? Imagine where he's been.
Right.
Just absolutely extraordinary. So an event, movies can make that point of connection with a different generation. A film festival like this one, which is important, is dedicated to making that kind of connection to all kinds of generations that have gone before. And it actually is a film festival that you're proud to be a part of for that reason, because it has an ethical core.
Yeah. So you just touched on it, and did you follow up with, say, the veteran? Did you capture their story? Did they say, yeah, I went up in this Warbird and I remember, that day, this XYZ?
What's coming is probably a feature-length version of the documentary,
Okay,
in which you will see all of the follow-up. all of the
Nice.
backstory on that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so how can people view the trailer, find the film, pitch it?
Well, they can see it tomorrow here at the GI Film Festival,
Excellent.
May 23rd.
Okay.
And you should come. You can see all kinds of wonderful films tomorrow.
Definitely.
And today and this evening. And it will also be either part of a documentary series on one of the networks. But I think what I'll do is I'll release this documentary short online on a website called resurrectingwarbirds.com.
Okay. Awesome. Trishan, thank you so much for talking to me.
Hey, a real pleasure.
Good luck
Thanks
with
for your interest in
the
this.
film. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.